Hello class. So I'm Walter Barta and I'll be your instructor for Composition 2. Um, so I'll be posting these video lectures periodically so that you will have some instruction to go along with the documents that are in your course Blackboard. So basically, I'll mostly be going through the Blackboard, just so that in case you miss anything, you can refer to these lectures as well as the Blackboard itself. So to get started, this is what Blackboard should look like when you initially log in. So we're in Composition 2, English 1302, 171. www.28. So this indicates that it's an online course and also that it's the second 8 weeks course. So initially you'll see the home page and you'll see this sidebar over here. So the first three links you see, the course modules is probably going to be your most important. The course modules is where I'll be keeping all of the really important documents for the course. So you can see the syllabus is here, the calendar is here, a link to these video lectures is here. We also have folders containing the units for the course. So in future video lectures, I'll be posting and going through the contents of these folders for you. For now, though, we're just going to do the first few documents we have here, and we're going to be just browsing through what the course looks like. So down here in this next section, we have a few other links. So the intro to the literature book. So those of you who bought an online copy of the literature book should be able to access it here. If you haven't, or if you bought the hard copy, then you won't be able to see it here. But if you use the online copy, you should be able to log in to the Norton website through this portal. There's also the Little Seagull ebook. This is the second textbook advised to you on your syllabus. This is essentially a grammar handbook. You probably used this in Composition 1, but you can access this here as well. Lastly, you should be able to access your inquisitive assignments. We're going to be doing a few assignments through inquisitive. You may have done inquisitive before, either through Composition 1 or a different course, but you'll be able to find those quizzes here. All right. Next, you will be able to see your grades. When you click on this, it should populate with what your grades look like at the current moment. This individual conferences is a link to a Zoom. As the semester goes along, I'll hold office hours that you guys will be able to Zoom into, and this is where you'll go for that. I also have another link, another Zoom link here. Then we have the calendar. So all of your due dates should populate into this calendar. The due dates, some due dates, like your reading response, discussion boards, might not populate here. So you might refer to the syllabus and the calendar for your due dates, but this calendar should populate with any assignments that require submission through Blackboard, those should appear here. Then we have the reader responses. These ones won't show up on the calendar because they aren't assignments, they're discussion boards, or they aren't assignment submissions, they're discussion boards. But you'll be able to see all of them here, and the due dates for these should be listed on the calendar document that I'll show you in just a second. So when you go into course modules, you should be able to see the first documents that we want to go over. So I'll be going through all 5 of these documents with you. All right, so firstly, I posted this short poem, an autobiography in 5 short chapters. So essentially, it's a poem about somebody who keeps making mistakes and over time eventually gets better. And for this class, this is going to be a type of metaphor for your work in progress in writing. So we can read the poem quickly here. So I walk down the street, there is a deep hole in the sidewalk, I fall in, I am lost, I am helpless, it isn't my fault, it takes forever to find a way out. I walk down the same street, there is a deep hole in the sidewalk, I still don't see it, I fall in again, I can't believe I am in the same place, it isn't my fault, it still takes time to get out. I walk down the same street, there is a deep hole in the sidewalk, I see it there, I still fall in. It's habit, it's my fault. I know where I am, I get out immediately. I walk down the same street, there is a deep hole in the sidewalk, I walk around it. I walk down a different street. All right, so in what way can we think about our writing process with this poem? We can use sort of an extended metaphor here. Because the poem's an extended metaphor, the street is your life, right? And you're making mistakes, but slowly but surely, hopefully, making some improvements. But for writing, we're always going to be making mistakes. We're going to be walking and we're going to be falling down that deep hole in the sidewalk. And then we're going to learn that it was a mistake, right? We're going to make the mistake, we're going to learn it's a mistake, and we're going to make the mistake again. And we're going to feel like they feel in the poem. I still don't believe it, I fall in again, I can't believe I'm in the same place. So we're going to make mistakes and we're going to make them again. And we're going to think it isn't our fault, right? It's very hard to think something is our fault. And sometimes it's not our fault. If we don't know in the first place, it's not our fault. But if we learn, then it slowly becomes our fault, right? So in the next one, we see that we see the hole in the sidewalk and still fall in. But now we've acknowledged our fault. It's a habit, it's my fault, I know where I am. So here we're making the mistake, but we've acknowledged that we know that mistake's a mistake. We made it anyway, it's our fault, but we're going to try to do better next time. And finally, there's a deep hole in the sidewalk, and I walk around it. So finally we learn our lesson, and we don't make that same mistake, right? Whatever that mistake was, whether it was a grammar mistake, whether it was a mistake in writing structure or writing process, we walk around the mistake this time. And finally, I don't think we'll get here in this class, but if you're good enough of a writer, or good enough in whatever you're doing in life, maybe you will be able to walk down a different street. Maybe you will be able to create something new. So we're going to make mistakes in the class, but that's why we're in college in the first place, right? Is to learn from our mistakes, so that we don't make them when it comes time to be actually important. So that being said, let's move on to the syllabus. So the syllabus should tell you all of the good stuff you need to know about the course. So obviously this is Spring 2022, second 8-week course. It's Composition 2, and I'm your professor, Walter Barta. So this course is going to go from the start of this week, March the 21st, till May the 13th, the end of the semester. So that's a pretty tight schedule that we're going to try to keep to, and we're going to have to really do things quickly and do things on time so that things don't build up on us by the end of the semester. It's also an online course, so it means that you're not going to see me in person unless you decide to come to my office hours, which I'll give you a posting of my in-person office hours, but I understand that a lot of you won't be able to make those office hours. A lot of you live far away, and that's why you're taking an online course in the first place. But I'll post those in-person office hours as well, or I'll email them to you. So something you're probably really interested in is the grading formula. So the two major parts of the grade for this semester will be writing assignments and additional assessments. So we have the writing assignments here, and then we have the additional assessments down here. And then we also have some extra credit. So I already emailed about the extra credit for the WCJC Fine Arts events. We're having the jazz concert next week. So if you want to go to that and bring me a signed playbill as a proof of attendance, then you can do that and you can gain a point of extra credit. So going through some of these extras, so we have additional assessments. Those will include inquisitives, reading quizzes, close readings, reader responses, and group activities. We're also going to be doing large writing assignments. So the first one's going to be our short story essay. So we want to do a partial draft of that. Then we want to do a planning worksheet, and then a final essay on that. After that, we're going to do a drama research paper. So we're going to do evidence interpretation charts, which is something we'll get to when the time comes. We're going to do a partial draft, and then we're going to do the final essay. And then lastly, we're going to do an APA social issues paper. This is going to be a group paper. I've already emailed assigning you guys your groups for your group paper and your group activities. So you can get started talking to your groups about this already, but that's going to be the last thing that we work on in the class. There's also a short assessment of writing choices essay, and that's going to be something that we turn in individually. But the issues paper with your group, you're going to be brainstorming, doing evidence interpretation, organizing, doing a partial draft, then doing your individual section of the essay, completing the essay, the final essay with your group, and then presenting the project. Okay, so basically this other stuff, attendance policy, that's not really an issue with a class like this because we're not meeting in person. but it is recommended that you sign into Blackboard at least every week and probably every day, because I could be posting new stuff and you will have things due every week. So you're definitely going to want to be logging in frequently to keep up with that. You also want to be checking your WCJC email. If you don't check your WCJC email or don't know how to check your WCJC email, then you really need to start doing that, because not just for this class, but other classes may be informing you of things by email, and you might be missing all of that. So ADA statement, so this is just for any students who have special accommodations. You could just email me and we can discuss what those accommodations would be and how we can satisfy those accommodations. And misconduct, so I don't expect anybody to be plagiarizing, but if you are plagiarizing, you'll probably be caught, because Turnitin, all of our assignments are turned in through the Turnitin website, and the Turnitin website does a authenticity report that checks for plagiarism. So other than that, the last day to drop the course with a W, so that's a withdrawal, right, is April 22nd. So if by April 22nd, which is just a month away, if anybody is worried about their performance in the class, if for whatever reason you just haven't turned anything in, or even if you might be sick, let's say, with anything, COVID, whatever, and for that reason can't complete the course, then we'll need to talk about that and see if it's a good idea, the best idea for you to withdraw from the course. All right, and there's a lot more information in the syllabus, but I'm not going to go through everything. I'm just going to skim through it. We have prerequisites. I assume everybody's taken English 1301 already. If you haven't, then that needs to be taken before taking this class. General educations and core objectives, those are just the main things we'll be covering in the course. Student learner outcomes, required course materials. So this one is important because it's an online course. You're going to need a computer, you're going to need a webcam and microphone, you're going to need reliable internet, and you're going to need your textbooks. So the two textbooks assigned for the course are the Norton Introduction to Literature and the Little Seagull Handbook. And when you get these, they should come with access to Inquisitive. If you get them new, it should come with an insert that lets you access that. Some of you might already have access to Inquisitive. If you took 1301 last semester, you should still have that access available. But otherwise, you'll be able to opt into it through the Blackboard portal to the Norton website that I just showed you. We have the 6-drop rule here. We have the method of instruction, course requirements. So we don't have any exams, but we do have a lot of written assignments. We also have classwork, homework, and quizzes. It's pretty much all homework because this is an online course. This is just information about how to format and submit your essays using the proper MLA formatting or APA formatting, and then using Turnitin to submit. We'll also be doing an oral presentation. We'll be doing some extra credit, and then we have those reader responses, which those of you who have already introduced yourself you are already familiar with how to do those through the discussion board. Regarding the course evaluation, so I already showed you the grading scale above. So you can refer to that if you want to know how many points something is worth on your grade. Most of the homework assignments are going to be worth 1 point, except for the 1 point each, except the writing assignments are going to be worth a lot more points, because those are the big assignments. Course policies, late work and makeup policy. So I won't be able to accept essays more than 1 week late. Because this is such a short course, even that is cutting it really close. And the issue is that there are going to be essays due every week. So if you miss an essay, if you miss an essay for 1 week, you're already going to have 2 essays to write for the next week. So you really have to keep up, and I have to be able to keep up with grading them so that I can give you feedback so you can do better on the next essay. So any more than a week is not enough time for me to even be giving you that feedback. So, and the general idea is that they'll be penalized 5 points for each day that they are late. So if you don't turn them in the first day, it'll be 5 points, and then it'll be 5 points all the way down. It'll go to 95, 80, 85, 80, or 95, 90, 85, 80, 75, 70. So basically, if you turn them in a week late, you can't even make more than a 70. So that's a problem in and of itself, because you're already having a below passing grade for that essay. So it's going to be very difficult to keep up if you don't turn in stuff on time. Technology outage, in case you have bad internet or a broken computer or something. Classroom behavior and cell phone use. So this doesn't really apply to us because we're an online course. Absentee and tardy policy, again, doesn't apply to us, but I do want you logging into your email and Blackboard very frequently. And yeah, academic honesty policy. I expect everybody to know that they won't get a good grade if they plagiarize. So that's the syllabus. If you have any questions about that, just email me and I can clarify. It's possible I have some confusing wording or errors or contradictions on here. So just let me know and we'll get that taken care of. So the next thing is going to be the calendar. So the calendar is going to tell us week by week what is due. So this is week 1 that we're on now. It started March the 21st. This is the stuff, in general, these are going to be your homeworks here. All this stuff on the left-hand side, that's homeworks. And the class activities, this is just stuff that, this isn't stuff that you turn in, this is stuff that I need you to start looking at and or read. So you can see we already have a lot on our plate. We have to really cram it in here in order to finish the course on time. So this week we're starting on the Getting Started module on the Blackboard, and we're also starting on the Short Story module. We're going to be mostly doing reading of short stories, and we're going to be doing the reader responses for those stories. So we can go through what's due this week. academic integrity quiz, the syllabus acknowledgement quiz, and the consent to disclosure of personal essays. So those three basically are just yes or no questions. Basically, I want a yes or no question. Did you look at and submit to the academic integrity module, or the academic integrity disclosure? And then, did you see the syllabus and acknowledge that you saw the syllabus? And then, do you consent to disclosure of personal essays? All that means is, are you okay with letting me or other instructors use your personal essays as examples for students in the future? It doesn't mean that I'll use them. I just want you to give permission if you want me to use them. Because if your essay is good enough, basically I would use it as an example of a good essay that students can emulate when they write their essays next time. The next two things are the pause and practices. These are just short Norton modules that you can log into and do. This week we have how an essay works and developing your thesis. And then we have three short stories for this week. We have The Cathedral, we have King of the Bingo Game, and we have The Storm. So I've posted the YouTube audiobooks for all three of these stories, so you should have no trouble viewing them or reading them. They're also in your textbook. So for each of these, we're going to submit a reader response, which is just a response in the discussion board. We're also going to be taking a reading quiz for The Cathedral. All right. And I forgot to mention that for the Cathedral and for King of the Bingo Game, we have a group paragraph, which is just something that I want you to work on together with a group. You're going to be answering a question in paragraph form and submitting that. You're going to be submitting it individually, but working on it as a group. All right. So I'll go briefly through the other weeks. I won't cover everything, but I'll give you a basic rundown. So week 2, we're going to be also looking more at the short story, and we're going to be starting on our writing assignment for the short story. We're going to be reading some more short stories, 3 more short stories, doing some more pause and practice, doing some inquisitives. So the inquisitives will get us reacquainted with how to cite sources and how to use quotations. And we're going to be writing a partial draft of a short story essay, which is going to be an analysis of a short story. That's going to be our first big writing assignment. And the partial draft will be due at the end of next week. The week after that, we're going to be transitioning to the drama section of our textbook. We're going to be reading 2 plays. The first play is Fences, which I posted an Amazon link for. There's a movie version of Fences starring Denzel Washington that you could watch if you would prefer to watch your play instead of read your play. Plays are written very much to be performed, right? So watching the play in some ways is even better than reading the play. And the second play is A Raisin in the Sun. I also have a YouTube link for this one. We're going to be working on reading responses for those, and we're also going to be working on, we're going to be finishing up our short story essay. So we're going to be doing our planning worksheet, and then we're going to be doing our short story final draft. The week after that, we're going to start working on our drama paper, which is the second big writing assignment for the semester. So we're going to be doing evidence interpretation for the drama and looking at secondary sources. The week after that, we're going to be submitting the drama research paper partial draft. We're also, on that week, going to be starting on our group research paper. So we're going to be selecting a topic, brainstorming, and doing some preliminaries for our group research paper that week as well. The week after that, we're going to be submitting. The week after that, we're going to be submitting our drama research paper. So that's the final draft of that paper. We're also going to be continuing to work on the group research paper. So we're going to be doing organizing charts, cause effects and solutions, and submitting a partial draft. And finally, we're going to, on the week after that, we're going to be submitting our group research paper, the final draft. We're also going to be working on our Google Slides. The Google Slides will just be the presentation that we're going to be giving on the topic of our group research paper. And on the last week, which is finals week, we're going to be turning in our individual writing choices essay, which is sort of like a personal reflection of how your writing has gone over the semester, and we're going to be submitting that group PowerPoint for the presentation. So that's the basic calendar. I don't want to go through every point on it because you can read those for yourself. You can read those for yourselves, but the information should be all here about what will be covered during each week of the course. Next, okay, so the next thing I wanted to look at, I just wanted, in case anybody is not aware, I wanted to show you guys that WCJC offers a ton of scholarships, many of which you just have to apply for. If you haven't already, I strongly recommend looking at some of these scholarships and considering whether or not you're a good candidate for them, because you probably might be a candidate for at least one, because there's dozens of scholarships on the WCJC website. So there's these first 5 big scholarships that are listed here, but then there's also these endowment awards, and they just keep going and going and going with endowment awards. There's also other scholarships. So these are potential scholarships you could look into. And then there's outside scholarships that you could look into. So I really recommend browsing through these if you haven't done so already, because it's free money, right? So I assume you're all either working through college, or else you are maybe on some scholarships yourself, but we can always use more money, right? So these would be great for you to apply for as soon as possible, really. So the last thing I was going to show you was my YouTube channel. So I have a folder, ENGL1302. So that's our folder for the class, and that's where I'll be posting all of our audiobooks and also all of my video lectures. So if you get lost, that link can be found here in the Blackboard, and that'll take you to all of the lectures. I recommend saving or subscribing to this folder so that you can essentially use this not just on your computer, maybe even on your phone. Listen to some of these audiobooks in your free time. Listen to the lectures in your free time and whatnot. Okay, so that's the first 5 things on the Blackboard for you. So the next thing I'm going to post will be a lecture covering the first folder here, the Getting Started folder, and I'll be posting lectures on each of the folders as the semester goes on. So, but the next lecture I should be posting pretty shortly, just going through the contents of this Getting Started folder for you guys. All right, so if you have any questions, email me as soon as possible. We're on a very tight schedule, so let me know. And I like hearing from you guys. Anyway, I won't get to see you guys very much because of the online format, so it would be good to hear from you so that I can actually individuate you from the other students, because right now you're just names on a list for me. So be sure to do that, and be sure to post your introduction too, so I can get to know something about you. All right, have a good week.